A shocking new report from Oxfam exposes just how bad the world's billionaire problem is. The 97-page report, aptly titled Takers Not Makers, explains how billionaires are actually becoming more powerful, not less. The report found that in the last year, the world's 2,769 billionaires increased their wealth by $2 trillion, 3 times faster than the year before. That means the average billionaire is making $2 million a day, while the richest 10 billionaires are making $100 million a day. To put that in perspective, if you earned $1,000 a day, every single day for 315,000 years, which would take you back to the dawn of Homo sapiens as a species, you still wouldn't be as wealthy as people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Even if every single billionaire lost 99% of their wealth, every single one of them, with the exception of a few, would still be wealthier than 99% of people in America. Collectively, the billionaire class, which is, again, less than 3,000 people, has a net worth of $15 trillion, meaning together they're worth more than every single country on Earth except the United States and China. The report also notes that even though billionaire wealth is skyrocketing, the number of people in the world living in poverty hasn't changed since 1990. Right now, 44% of humanity lives below the poverty line, meaning they make less than $6.85 a day. If you take out China's poverty reduction, which has been one of the main drivers of poverty reduction in the last few decades, lifting over 800 million people out of poverty since 1979, the global poverty rate has actually increased. Meanwhile, if current trends continue, Oxfam predicts that we'll have 5 trillionaires within a decade. The report also calculates that 36% of all billionaire wealth is inherited. In fact, every single billionaire under the age of 30 inherited their wealth. 18% of billionaire wealth, according to this report, comes from monopoly power. This refers to companies like Amazon that control so much market share they can set industry prices, unilaterally lower wages, and stifle innovation without any competition from other companies. Another 6% of billionaire wealth comes from cronyism, meaning corrupt state officials that use their positions to enrich themselves. In total, Oxfam estimates that 60% of billionaire wealth comes from these illegitimate sources and led the authors to conclude that billionaire wealth is, quote, largely unmerited. This might actually be the most important part of the report, because how many people do we know that talk about wanting to be millionaires or billionaires? On the internet, you can find all kinds of videos that talk about how you can get rich quick or how you can get a billionaire mindset, and they almost always say the only difference between you and the billionaires is that the billionaires work harder than you. But according to this report, most billionaires don't work for their money at all. They steal it or they just get it from their parents. In fact, you actually have a far greater chance of getting struck by lightning or dying in a plane crash than you do of becoming a billionaire. Literally by thousands of times. The only reason billionaires tell you that you can become a billionaire is so you stay in your place instead of questioning the role of billionaires in society. If people realize that one of the most common ways people get this rich is by cheating or inheriting from your parents, you'd realize these people aren't the geniuses they make themselves out to be. They're not innovators and they're not heroes. If they cared about you or I at all, they would have shown it by now. They would have improved wages and living standards. They would have paid their fair share in taxes like the rest of us instead of hoarding it all for themselves. But that's the point. No amount of honest hard work makes you that rich. The only way to get that rich is to drain the wealth of the rest of society. And what do you call it in biology when you have an organism that drains the lifeblood of a larger host? The newly inaugurated Trump administration is basically a prototype of what a global dictatorship of billionaires could look like. Among the top priorities of this administration, which counts 13 billionaires and $483 billion in net worth among its ranks, is actually to cut taxes on the billionaire class even further and destroy whatever's left of the public safety net. But what's truly incredible about this is this billionaire-run administration is trying to convince us that the reason we're struggling isn't because of billionaires and corporations hoarding wealth. It's because of immigrants. Just think about what's being said here. A group of billionaires wants you to think that they're not your enemy, it's the roofer coming from Guatemala that's your enemy. A group of billionaires wants you to think that they're not your enemy, it's the Haitian family fleeing a US-backed dictatorship with nothing but the clothes on their backs that's your enemy. And you know what? When you really think about it, that's exactly what you'd expect a bunch of billionaires to tell you.